Those of you might remember from a previous video of me welding up this hitch, this one down here, putting the ammo box on and the 2-inch receiver, and I've actually bought another tractor, and I'm going to sell that tractor. And this is an a Sears SS16 twin, and this one does not have a hitch. It has the 3-point on it though, but I obviously can't use that for trailer work, so I figured we're going to build another 2-inch receiver on this one. And it already has the holes and stuff already drilled in, 2 at the bottom and then 2 at the top. So I think I'm going to build another hitch today. So I basically did the same thing that I did before. Went down to Harbor Freight, bought a standard 12-inch long 2-inch receiver, 5,000 pound capacity. We have actually probably maybe gone close to that a few times with this on the other tractors. 5/8 pin, class 3, 5,000 pound rating. Oh, and requires professional installation there, and must be professionally installed. Well, obviously I'm not going to pay someone to put this on. I have the welders and stuff to do this, so here we go with another welding video that is frowned upon by the professional welders, because you're not supposed to weld anything structural with these welders, as they say. But the steel here is 3/16 thick, so we're not out of what this welder can weld. And since I'm really quite familiar with this 90 amp welder from Harbor Freight, I figured we'll weld up another hitch onto this tractor, and then this tractor, almost as it sits, is how it's going to be sold. I'll clean it up a bit and maybe paint the rear rims, but that's pretty much it. And that hitch is held up just fine. I have not had any problems with it. It's fine. The back end of the tractor is weaker than that hitch is, so I don't think we have to worry about it. So let's start cutting. I got a big piece of steel over here, right in there, and I need a piece of steel that is, I have this written down somewhere here. Where did I put it? What was it? 8.5 by 6 3/4. So let's start cutting this thing. So this piece of steel here is about a little less than 3/16 of an inch thick, and it is diamond plate also. So I'm going to put the diamond plate on the outside and where the hitch is going to be welded to it. And I'm just kind of taking off the 3-point now, and I'm trying to figure out how to get the holes and stuff lined up. I kind of traced it out with a paint marker, and I put a piece of cardboard in there and punch holes in it with the drill and whatnot, so trying to get everything as lined up as best as I can. I did not do any filming of me drilling the holes, only for the simple fact that it was pretty simple, and now I have to enlarge these bottom holes on the tractor. I've got to say, this tractor is pretty stock, and just about as it came out of the factory. I think even the color of the paint's correct, but I've since added new tires, and the rims that I had for this are an inch wider, so even the tires on it said Sears on it. So now you see me using a level and a piece of cardboard. That is to get the angle correct on this hitch. I want it slightly, maybe just a little bit up or a little bit down, and I think I decided on slightly down, not much, maybe a couple degrees, maybe 3 or 4 degrees at the most. I'm using that cardboard to get the template right, or get the angle right on this tube, so I can figure out exactly where it needs to be cut. Now I'm cutting it off of the end because I want to possibly in the future add another ammo box to this. I'll take the old one off and put it on this one, but I'm not entirely sure. I was just focused on getting this hitch made up yesterday whenever I was doing this. And I have this now cut. And since I've read through a lot of the comments on my previous welding videos, and people said to clean off the paint and stuff, which I did in the first one, so I'm going to do that to this one also. And they said to grind a bevel into the tube, so that's also what I'm doing here. A pretty severe bevel, maybe it's probably 45 degrees, and maybe at the end of it is a 1/16 of an inch thick on the inside. So now I'm just kind of mocking everything up, and I do wear a respirator whenever I'm using an angle grinder. They're made out of fiberglass. They use fiberglass discs and whatnot, so that this stuff is not good to be breathing. I had thought about tacking up this 2-inch receiver on the tractor, but if you notice, right underneath the seat is a gas tank, and I am welding less than a foot away from it, so I really didn't think that was a good idea to do. So I ended up just taking the hitch off again and tacking it up off of the tractor, and then putting it back on and making sure everything's correct. I'm trying to level the tractor as best as I can, and then I'll try to level the hitch, but again, it doesn't matter because I'm not welding it on the tractor. I'm just kind of mocking things up and really taking my time doing this, because this should be the last hitch I ever have to put on this tractor, hopefully. It's time to fire up the good old 90 amp flux core wire welder from my favorite store, Harbor Freight. I've got to say, this welder has been pretty reliable. Oh, that sounds great. I think we might need a new fan. Maybe it's time for a new welder. There we go. Now it sounds better. Just a little WD-40 on the motor in the back. The fan motor, that is. So now that we have the welder warmed up here, I have had some issues with that fan in the back. I think that motor is going. So maybe at some point I'll either get a new welder. It'd be nice to get a DC welder, but I'm going to run this welder now till it's totally gone. So I got everything all tacked up, and I'm just putting this back on the tractor, trying to make sure everything is level and nothing's super twisted in it, and whenever I tighten it down that it's something doesn't go crooked or funny or whatever. I'm just trying to make this thing, spend some time on it and really make it good. I wanted to say to everyone, for building this hitch, a very, very small percentage of me building this is welding. The majority of it is cutting out the plate, figuring out the angles, drilling the holes, grinding everything, cleaning off the paint, and beveling the edges on this tube. And that's the last, I don't know, 10% of this, not even that, is just welding this. So for as much time as I've spent on this thing, I think we're finally ready to start welding on this thing. So here we go. I wanted to say I am not a professional. I don't ever claim to be one, but I can weld, and I've welded these hitches and stuff before and have not had any problems with them whatsoever. So, if you guys attempt something like this, I cannot be held liable for anything that you do, anyone that you hurt, anything that you hurt, etc., etc. You do this at your own risk. I'm just showing you what I'm doing, and I'm just making a YouTube video documenting what I've done and what seems to work for me. So now that we're putting the first bead in, I'm doing the top of this thing first, and I'm just trying to just do weaving it back and forth. And if you see the fan there down at the bottom, the middle bottom of the screen, the reason that is there is for I'm trying to keep the fumes and stuff out of my face. You know, this is flux core welding, so this is a rather dirty welding process. You know, it's not TIG, it's not MIG. It would be stick welding's brother, if you could say that. So I'm just getting that first piece tacked up, or really welded, that first bead, and I've got to say, beveling these edges really does help an awful lot. I was really kind of surprised at how much better things welded when I beveled the edges. And I kept make sure you don't lay the gun down. Make sure you angle it up, because that plate at the bottom needs more heat than the top one does. Here are what some of my welds look like. Again, I'm not a professional at this. I'm just kind of trying to do the best that I can with what I have. That one there actually didn't turn out too bad. And this one here, that is probably my best weld on this thing. So let's do pass number 2. I ended up doing 3 passes on each side of this total, and I tried going around the corners also while I was welding, and did not stop at the corners as best as I could. So now that I'm done welding, hope you guys can see the bluing on this edge here, right in here. Not really any there, but wow, boy, this tube's getting hot. A bunch of bluing in here and nothing there. And I did get quite a bit of penetration. You can see the color, the discoloration of the steel on the back. And you see how on the inside of all these holes it's blue, especially there and here. I don't know if these other two are. No. So not all the holes are like that, but I think that's good enough for a garden tractor. So let's get this thing mounted. We're putting this thing on the tractor, and it has not cooled down at all. I literally just finished welding this thing. Did talk to the camera here and put it on, so it is still super hot while I'm putting this on the tractor. And I forgot to put the 3-point on, so I will have to put that on also. And I took some pictures of it. This is what the hitch looks like mounted onto the tractor. I will paint this thing eventually. So I hope everyone enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more, and we'll see you in the next one.